Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Simon Max Hit the Road. Let's continue. So, we unlocked a few places, but they really are just places where we've walked into them, we've talked to somebody, and we've maybe gotten a single item or accomplished a single thing. I think the idea here is they almost certainly built this game backwards and said, we're going to have this many locations, and arguably I'd say they probably planned for 2 out of these 3 Snuckies places to actually have been other locations, and then they, I think, logically worked backwards so that they made puzzles that were solvable by being able to go to a certain area and then locked those areas behind puzzles, so that you started with just the 3 Snuckies and the circus, which arguably the circus is one of the biggest areas and you still don't do that much around here. Dino Bungee National Memorial.
I told you not to run over that biker gang.
I was not clicking on the car.
Dino Bungee National Memorial.
So we've got dinosaurs all over the place, and people jumping out of the noses. So we've got a robotic dinosaur with its nails feet down.
No
I mean, its feet nailed down.
I thought it was missing something. Where's the crayons?
No way.
Why not?
You're artistically inept.
Can I just paint his toenails red?
Maybe later.
So we've got a thing I think we're supposed to activate to listen.
My name is Rex, the Thunder Lizard. During the late Jurassic period, I was king of
This
the
is interesting
dinosaurs.
background music
As
displaying.
you can see, my
It
tiny
definitely
forearms
does
are
not
useless.
play
But
well
I'm
with
more
the
than
sound
enough
effects.
for it with my powerful tail, my muscular legs, and my savage razor-sharp teeth. Some people make fun of me because I've got a brain the size of a walnut, but they usually stop making fun of me after I eat them. Hi, my name is Rex.
Okay, and that just loops.
Hi, I'm Wally, the woolly mammoth. I may be extinct now, but during the Ice Age, I
These
was
are
king
once
of the
again
mammals.
weird sound effects.
Hi, I'm Wally, the woolly mammoth. I may be
And I think we need to, our main goal is to pretend like we're, I think trying to pretend like we are a Bigfoot. Do we have anything that would make sense? This.
I can't use these things together.
Nope.
It's a pillow with hair.
Let's try that on that.
I can't use these things together.
Nope. Unless we're supposed to use the magnet.
I can't talk to.
Unless we're supposed to use the magnet to mess these up.
I can't use these things together. I can't use these things together. I can't use these things together. I can't use these things together.
And so we sometimes use max, but we've often found that max is not used enough that you would potentially think about it a second time. Alright, so maybe, just maybe there's a couple of different locations. So maybe there was nothing there. And then maybe the bungee jumps over here are a different location. So there's a location here and a location there. And frankly, at any point, that could be the case.
This place evokes a sense of wonder.
You have to wonder.
So here you run into the dangerous situation of having kids in a Sam and Max game, or any game that's inherently sarcastic and a little bit mean-spirited. Like, these kids are going to feel like innocent victims almost always, even if you have them be foul-mouthed, rude brats. It's still not going to quite play the way you would want it to do. And you certainly saw that in the fact that there was, as far as I recall, exactly 0 children, even younger characters depicted in the Telltale games. And we haven't seen any kids so far.
This line's not moving very quickly.
The same thing could be said about the plot.
That's definitely
That's
true.
not funny, Max.
The whole game here does suffer from being very, very slow.
I can't remember the last time I saw so much tar.
Me neither, but my long-term memory is virtually non-existent.
And we've had this cup that we've not known what to do with for a long time, so
I can't
see.
use these things together.
Like, we run into many fluids that seemingly would have made more sense to be able to pick it up.
Very quickly.
The same thing could be said about the plot.
And same
That's not funny, Max.
same dialogue. This is an example of something that probably shouldn't be repeated.
What's going on here, you cute little ragamuffin?
What does it look like, Barface?
You should show more respect toward your elders, Sonny.
Respect this, Bowser breath.
Ooh, can I pummel him now, Sam?
No,
Yep.
Max. Puberty will be punishment enough for this one.
True.
We want to ride the tar slide.
So we have this
Mine
conversation.
one's in the back, Shep.
Oh, the humanity.
Where?
So long, Squirt.
So you have this one conversation with that one character. I imagine you can't talk to any of the other people.
Oh, the humanity.
Where?
Yeah, so the other characters are just stationary. You can see how these are definitely secondary characters in the fact that they're not even moving.
So long, Squirt.
This character moves. This character over here is not moving.
So long, Squirt.
And pretty much if you click to talk to anybody, it seems like you are going to...
Huh? I can't reach over the top of the pool.
So we're going to have to bungee jump, I think, to get the tar. Why do we need the tar at all is a bigger question. And how does one get up to the top where the bungee jumpers are is a question. So we've, in this instance, accomplished absolutely nothing. And I don't know what to do, like, because there's nothing here that even looks like it's the right thing. So this is probably an area you're not supposed to even access until you've accomplished something. So I have to go back to the walkthrough. I thought we'd probably have been done with the game using a walkthrough an hour ago, but it's such a slow game, and certainly there's a lot of opportunity to just stand around and be confused. Alright, so I'm going through the walkthrough now, and we'll see what I have missed, if anything. Let's see. Yeah, we are in the right place according to the walkthrough, which just tells me what to do. Okay. So it wasn't too far off. We are supposed to use Max on the woolly mammoth, which you have two things here, and the thought that one of them is Max and the other isn't is really weird.
Hey, Max.
Hey, what?
I've got a job for those mighty incisors of yours.
What?
See that woolly mammoth?
What about it?
Stop playing dumb and get chomping.
So he walks away so you don't have to see it. I definitely knew it was weird that there was nothing kind of happening. So now he's missing a lot of fur.
Now we've got more full woolly mammoth hair than we'll ever need, and we've learned an important lesson.
Yeah, the woolly mammoths died of embarrassment.
See, and this is a case of a game where, a point in the game where we should have been given scissors at some point and fairly recently, and then when we tried to use them, Max just grabs them out of your hand and throws them away and says, "You don't need those. My teeth can do it." And had that even happened in a previous instance, then that would have established that Max could have been used for his teeth.
It might be nice to have a hairy stiltwalker's costume, but I've got nothing to keep the hair stuck to the suit.
Okay. So the next part of the thing that we need to do here, looking at the walkthrough, and we'll put down the walkthrough,
The Thunder Lizard.
is that we're supposed to use the rope on his teeth. And since the game really hasn't told us that we need teeth, it doesn't really make a lot of sense that, like, it really doesn't make any sense that that was what we were going to need.
I can't take it anywhere. I haven't got enough leverage from here to pull out a tooth. Nothing happened. The twine must be jamming the works.
Right.
I haven't got enough leverage from here to pull out a tooth.
So we pick this up.
I can't take it anywhere.
Do we still have it in our inventory? No. So again, maybe we're supposed to use Max. It's like this one scene is the scene where you were supposed to have realized that that Max was supposed to be a consideration. So they tie it to a door, which just was a old school way of pulling out teeth, where you would
Finally got the tooth.
tie a tooth to a door handle and slam a door to yank it out. I don't feel like that's probably a recommended way to extract a tooth. Honestly, I think the best solution is to leave a tooth in and or just let a kid figure it out for themselves, because there's certainly a lot of trauma and such around losing teeth that giving them more time to adjust to the idea of that tooth is coming out might be the best solution. Yeah, I have no idea why we...
dinosaur tooth.
I don't know why we needed a dinosaur tooth, nor do I know what that's gonna be used for. I don't know why we needed a long ball of twine rope to pull a tooth. We got that rope a long time ago, which definitely opens the door that some players would have not have gotten the rope at this point and had to have wandered around the entire map. And so we now have 2 items, which 2 items seems to be about the most you get from any area, but I honestly don't have a clue as far as what I'm supposed to do with the dinosaur tooth, so I'm back to the walkthrough at this point. Yeah, apparently there is an elevator section somewhere over here, and I don't see it. So it must be that you go to this area down here, and then far to the right must have been something more that I missed. They just constantly do this, and it's clearly intentional. Like, you would not have so many things off the side of the screen, and it's not like there were even different resolutions of monitors back then. Like, there were, but they weren't extremely 16:9 widescreen images, so there's no monitor that would have existed where this would have actually made sense. It only makes sense if they were actually hand drawing every scene on a 16:9 ratio style piece of paper, and somehow that was a mistranslation. And I don't know how you could have made such a major mistake to hand animators 16:9 cell template papers and say draw all the backgrounds to fit this, and then you squeeze that into a 4:3 square ratio game.
Looks like this elevator will take us up into Washington's nose.
Alright, well, I suppose that's what we're supposed to do next. And I don't know if there's anything that we're actually going to accomplish here. Got another character. Let's just look at everything. First, we have a curtain to dress behind, I imagine. We have some kind of vending machine, and then we have a lady who looks like
instructor on duty.
She looks like she is just a lady, not based off any celebrity. But yeah, that's appreciated a little bit. Let's see, can you grab the lady?
She's not my type.
Yeah, I believe there's like one time in which you have Sam act attracted to a female in the Telltale games, and it kind of feels out of place.
Yes, I'm an Olympic bungee jumper.
Both
and
of them.
I know everything there is to know about bungee jumping.
So that she's a Swedish stereotype.
Wow, she sounds sure.
It does kind of make Sam and Max feel like they're asexual type characters. Not interesting. They're not interested in dating. They're only interested in violence, which makes decent sense.
Big hunk of fur like yourself would have no problem.
Yeah, sounds easy.
See, she's making eyes at him. And see that response there, sounds easy, looks dangerous, is a meta commentary joke on her flirting with him.
Hey, that furry pig thing is still down there.
That's the beauty of this tar. It's always at the right consistency and temperature. It could be days before you sink too low for us to find you.
I'm convinced. Let's go, Flyboy.
Interesting. They're both gonna bungee jump at the same time?
My nose is running.
Whose isn't?
Bye.
So long, cutie.
She must be the instructor on duty.
So this sales item thing seems to not really exist as far as the game is concerned. Okay, well, I think we know.
This is the time or place.
I think we know what we're doing. We're supposed to use this.
Quit that. So, what do you think?
It fits you just fine.
She's
Ooh, stand
kissing.
back. She may pounce.
It's a danger I face every day. So, Max, what do you think?
Yeah, at the face of it, a cute-looking rabbit and a cute humanoid dog probably would be very attractive to a lot of people. And you could certainly have written that into the story where people tried to pet Sam.
Baby.
Who's stalling? I'm just waiting for my buddy to come here and check out this spectacular view.
So it feels like he's gonna probably use this and attach it and grab him and then jump. Alright, so we want to use this with this. That's not gonna work. Let's see if we can use this with this. Yep, we use that quite a bit. A lot of puzzles where things are just out of reach. Lots of puzzles where things are just out of reach. Alright, so now we have tar. And we know what we're going to do with that. Tar on
Now
this.
the costume is covered with tar.
And then this with
Now
this.
We've got a Stiltwalker's costume covered with tar and faux woolly mammoth hair.
And so maybe they'll just stand on each other's shoulders. Can we use this?
I don't think this is the time or place.
So let's just try and walk.
Hey, you can't leave with that on. Put that back.
There is an argument though, as far as I think about Sam and Max as characters that are these goofy Looney Tune type characters that are only about cartoony violence. That doesn't inherently work because that's not really mini cartoons. You're talking Roger Rabbit pretty much, and even Roger Rabbit runs into that same problem where it's not really a cartoon that you would want to watch lots of cartoons of. When you think about the Roadrunner or Bugs Bunny, Pepe Le Pew, Elmer Fudd, any of those characters, they all had cartoonish violence certainly, but they also would have goals and desires and interactions.
Close enough for jazz. Let's go.
So there's just a
This is a completely unusual.
A lot of instances there where you would have had a little bit more interactions. Also, I suppose when you think about Looney Tunes, they tend to be at most 5-minute cartoons, where Sam and Max Game is a super long 10-hour experience. 5 to 10 hour experience it feels like it's going to be. Probably closer to 5. Could be.
We could try it on.
It could definitely be a 10-hour experience if you're not careful. So they go in there.
Gee, that's really close. But you guys need something to cover that bunny fella's face.
So we need something to cover his face, which I think we know that now why we needed to grow that plant. So we gotta go back this way and get the plant that we had commissioned to be grown from John Muir. It feels very weird how you potentially have a grab option. It feels like you're being encouraged to punch the characters instead of talk to them, where a more modern game would probably just limit it to a conversation. So as soon as you hovered over the character, it would be conversation and only conversation options.
Here you go, son. A zucchini squash that looks just like John Muir.
Gee, thanks, man.
Okay. So
Thanks.
let's
Bye.
see how this works now. I think there's two things here. Either you use this with
I
this,
can't use these things together.
or you use
I
this
can't
with
use
this,
these things together.
or you use this with
I
this.
can't use these things together. I can't use these.
Use this with this.
I can't use these things.
Use this with
I
this.
can't use these things together. I can't use these things. I can't use these things.
Alright, so we have an item here we have never used. We have an item here we've never used. We have an item here we've never used. And then everything else
I can't
seems
use
to
these.
probably
I don't
be
think this is the time or place.
probably have been used enough. Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're just back to a walkthrough. Like, I don't know what the next step there was. And it says go back to Bumpusville. Okay. Yeah, it's an Indiana Jones reference. Yeah, that they're making. And it's no surprise that the LucasArts games make a ton of Indiana Jones references since, like, Lucasfilm and Steven Spielberg, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, were on very friendly terms at the time, and I imagine they never had any big public disputes, so I assume they still are on fairly friendly terms. So we were supposed to have remembered the Indiana Jones movie, which would have been fresh in people's minds as a cliche when this game came out, but definitely is not fresh in people's minds now as far as swapping the idol. And here we have another animated, overly animated section. It's funny, certainly, but they just did not have the budget for this because the writing is so non-existent. You still get kicked out, but I think that's fine because that's, I believe, what you were probably
And stay out.
trying to do anyways. I think that was all you wanted to do. So we do have the wig, which we can either put this with the wig now.
I can't use these things together. Okay, I've attached Conroy Bumpus' toupee to the Stiltwalker's costume.
So, blue costume with tar, woolly mammoth hair, and toupee. So I think that is all we needed to do. Let's see, there's literally 3 more locations after this, and then we'll be done with the game. So you kind of can tell how this is just going to be a very abrupt ending. And it's abrupt for people who have a walkthrough in front of them, but this could have also been
I guess we
a
could try
couple
it
of
on.
extra hours of gameplay if I had to actually wander around looking for every item, particularly when you don't even know what items you're looking for.
Hey, that's a downright nice Sasquatch costume. I'll let you guys in with that one.
See, and there's just like no conversation there that said he was gonna let you in, and maybe he would have not let you in had you not given him the rasp. But
Looks like something important's happening.
that seems really crazy. There's a whole bunch of big feet in the
Hundreds of years
background.
ago, it was becoming apparent that our time was running out. Yet we were slow to heed the warnings of impending doom.
The seemingly slow encroachment of mankind and all that his many living styles entail seemed like a vague and distant problem. A problem for future generations of Yeti to solve. Blithely, we sat back.
Interesting that they're merging Yetis and Bigfoots.
Tradition and the status quo were our excuses for complacency. The
So we get the
certainty,
speech.
not just losing our way of life, but
Which is-
possibly our very lives. And the
Feels
demise
like
of our
a
entire race has now become
analogy
a
to
reality. A
global
reality
warming
we can
type
no
speech.
longer choose to ignore. As it turns out, the humans and their technology are moving faster than we are, much faster than we had anticipated. And so we now face the final crisis. Unless we pull together, not just acknowledging the need for change, but embracing change not just with our hearts
This feels
and our
like this is a
minds,
speech that's
but with
been
our
just
actions,
completely stolen
we
from
will fall
somebody.
behind, moving backward into extinction. Well, back to the music.
You have a female Bigfoot in the left corner. And it takes a while for the music to start playing. So we've got a food spread. We've got a Bigfoot. We've got a Yeti. See, unless they were going to, like, announce that they were going to war,
Choreography.
I don't know what the was to be revealed by that speech.
In a gluttonous kind of way.
Got a big pineapple. So we don't even know what the goal is. We'd already kind of freed the giraffe girl, who we don't see, and
He looks spooky in a cheery sort
the
of
main
way.
Bigfoot guy we were looking
He
for.
looks spooky in a cheery sort of way. She looks friendly in a scary sort of way.
So I guess we're supposed to talk to people.
Hey, baby, what's your sign?
Property of Vanuatu.
Vanuatu?
Vanuatu. The Bigfoot chief.
Interesting, calling herself property.
My husband. Don't sweat it, Junior. If I had a tree for every time a teenage Bigfoot's made a drunken pass at me, we surely wouldn't be in the mess we're in today.
Not really.
So,
Have you seen Bruno?
well, ask about Bruno.
Why, me and Mr. V have known little Bruno since he was knee-high to a pig. Salt of the earth, Bruno is. Nicest, most generous Bigfoot you'll ever meet. Dumb as a post, of course, but generous. Why, just the other day I was talking to my manicure.
She's just gonna go on and on, isn't she?
Kimmy, that
She's gonna be the
Bruno has got to be
stereotypical
the toughest creature to ever walk the surface of the planet.
big mouth.
So she said, "Oogly, oogly, oogly. Oogly, oogly, oogly.
And it just jumps
Bow,
to
bow, bow."
the noises.
So naturally, I said, "Yib, yib, yib. Yib, yib, yib."
It's gonna stay that way
Have you seen
forever,
Trixie
I'm
around
sure.
here?
Trixie. Nice girl. Wonderful human being. Complete fashion victim, of course, but so pleasant. Just last week, I was talking to Katie, my color consultant, and I said, "Katie, that Trixie girl wouldn't know a burnoose from a sarong if her life depended on it." So she said, "Yada, yada, yada. Oogly, oogly, oogly. Blah, blah, blah."
You haven't seen Conroy Bumpus.
So she's not really giving us any useful information.
He's the nationally renowned country western superstar Conroy Bumpus. I've got all his albums. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'd say he's the most gifted entertainer of the 20th century. He's an immoral cretin, of course, but boy, can he sing. I was talking to my chiropractor, Karen, just last month, and I said, "Karen, that despicable Conroy Bumpus sure has got a pretty voice."
Calling a character Karen these
She
days
had the nerve to say,
has a different
blah, blah,
meaning.
Blah, blah, blah.
It must be a hoot being married to our commander-in-chief.
Oh, it's not that great. Sure, you get to travel, but sometimes you get so lonely. Why, just yesterday I was telling my therapist, Nancy, sometimes it's so lonely at the top. Then she had the nerve to say, "Yada, yada, yada. Oogly, oogly, oogly."
Gee, your hair smells terrific.
You should talk to my hair care specialist, Janet. She does
See, this feels like this should almost be a mini game where you actually have to pay attention to her and who she's naming and what their positions are. But that's too high-minded of a puzzle for the challenges we've had here.
Excuse me, sir.
Like if there was some kind of passcode, they had to go. The passcode is Janet's or my therapist's name or something like that. That would be a surprising puzzle.
Has Bruno shown up yet?
The Telltale Sam and Max games didn't have very great puzzles either. They weren't that complicated.
Mission to the alien's home planet.
Of course. How silly of me to forget.
It's funny for you to question that since we literally have seen aliens in this game before already.
Shh. She's helping Bruno contact the aliens.
Oh, yeah.
So it seems like we literally are gonna see more alien
You
involvement.
haven't run into Conroy Bumpus, have you?
No, but I know how to deal with him. He has a near-fatal vulnerability to ice, like all beings from the evil planet Snargton.
Interesting.
Keep that in mind. You're the skinniest Bigfoot I've ever seen.
I've been fasting in preparation for the day when the aliens come to rescue us.
Aren't you the abominable... Never mind.
Yeah, you don't see that much in games or stories in general where characters can't pronounce something.
Figure of speech.
Which honestly, more and more I feel like I am having a harder time
He's not my type.
pronouncing some words. I often seem to get more tongue-tied than I feel like I used to. I suppose fairly easy to just not have said a word in a while, particularly if it's not a word that's used in common conversation.
Have you seen Bruno around?
Interesting that this just jumps.
He rescued me. I hear he's hiding out from a crazy bear and bunny who want to drag him off to an evil carnival.
Bear?
What was that?
Gas.
So he's hiding from us apparently. This is probably the character from the vortex that was saved, and I guess there was another third Bigfoot that was kidnapped somewhere in the game. I couldn't even tell you what location that would have been, though.
Have you heard from Trixie?
I guess she's hiding out with Bruno.
Have you seen Conroy Bumpus around here?
Is he the guy that coined the phrase hang 10?
No, he's a country western star gone berserk.
Ew, heinous.
There's a lack of focus as far as
So,
the
fellow
puzzles
smelly woodland creature, where have you
being
been
at
hiding
least
the past
slightly
8 years?
oriented around beating the bad guy,
I've spent the
Conroy.
last 8 years manacled to a dunking booth.
Oh yeah.
If Bruno and his girlfriend hadn't rescued me, I'd still be there.
So that's the guy that was at the Gator Golf, and this is the guy that would have been at the Vortex,
Your appetite's bigger than mine.
which, okay, that makes
Hey,
sense.
man, if you'd spent the past 8 years on a bread and water diet, you'd be scarfing down everything in sight too, dude.
So where are all the bodacious Bigfoot babes?
Take it easy, Max. You don't even like girls.
I don't?
Dude, are you like having an argument with your belly button?
No.
I'll let you get back to your food.
Mahalo, dude.
Yeah, they say that several times that Max doesn't like girls, which if they're implying that he's asexual or gay, they might want to just embrace that. But I don't know if that really helps anything in the story that they're telling. I think inherently a story like this needs just more improvement.
Only Yeti elders are allowed in the pool area.
So we want to get in the pool area, I guess. Do we have any item that would possibly let us do that? I don't think so. We'll try and talk our way past.
Mrs. Chief?
Yes, hon?
Adieu.
Don't be a stranger.
So, how can we... Can't get on the stage. Well, it doesn't seem like we accomplished anything here. We've come into this area and it's just not really let us do anything. Yeah. I feel like the Sam and Max characters and stories just need to be fleshed out more. And their universe needs to be established more. And then at some point you could reveal, oh yeah, that Max is either asexual kind of because he's crazy or he's gay. Either way works fine with me. Although the problem inherently with Max having any kind of romantic relationship of any kind is that he then has to not have a love of violence or self-absorbed self-obsession for that to even play out. So that there are better character tropes than just writing you don't like girls. You could have rewritten that line if you had like a character bible, a character biography that you had established better for Max, where you could have written a line where it's like the only person you've ever cared about is yourself, and that would be more character developing, I would say. Yeah, I guess we're back to the walkthrough because I really don't want this to go that much longer. Go through the door on your right to reach the kitchen. Is this a kitchen? Yeah, it says that's on the right. That is only on the right if you're facing the stage. It's not really on the right of the screen. Okay. See a screwdriver in there, an ice pick in there.
It's an ice pick.
Let's go ahead and grab it. What else have we got?
It's a freezer.
So apparently clicking here is clicking on this.
It's a freezer.
Then we've got a door. Got ovens. Again, a very, very overly animated
I can't
thing.
pick that up.
Okay, so we could go in there and we could freeze ourselves.
Well, 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 a Bigfoot.
Sure,
Interesting.
He's a scrawny feller.
A Bigfoot in the hand is worth two in the bush, Lee Harvey.
Sorry, boss.
Think nothing of it, old chap. Now, be a good lad and pop off to the bus and get the net.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bumpus.
So the only thing I think I'm supposed to do here is probably sick Max on him.
Don't make a move.
Let's see.
Don't make a move.
Seems like we could walk
Don't
out.
make a move.
Nope. So maybe we're supposed to talk our way through this.
What do you think you're doing?
I'm gonna put you in my menagerie, you mangy Bigfoot, you.
Why do you persecute harmless Bigfoots?
Harmless? Harmless? I'll have you know my parents were killed by a rabid Bigfoot.
Well,
Really?
even in that case, it would have been rabid.
No, actually, I'm just a warped, evil person who gets his jollies torturing cute woodland creatures.
Yeah, why
Well,
not
that's a valid
establish
motivation,
him
too.
at the beginning of the game as that?
I'm not really a Bigfoot, you know.
Pull the other one.
Where'd you get that British accent, anyway?
I'm originally from Liverpool, twit. You.
Look, behind you, the three-headed monkey.
Same old
Nice
scum LucasArts joke.
I can't be in your menagerie. I don't know how to play an instrument.
You'll be amazed how a few hundred volts speeds up the learning process.
Yeah, I think once again we're
You'll never
just
get
gonna
away with this.
have to use the walkthrough. Either I've locked myself into a bad situation, or there's some item I'm supposed to use here, and like, I don't know what that item would be. Oh, you just removed the costumes. That was about the only thing I could think of, was that we were just gonna take the costume off.
Maybe this will convince you that I'm not a Bigfoot.
Hmm.
You again?
I left the net back in Bumpusville.
Forget the net. We're gonna disguise ourselves as a Bigfoot.
Why?
So we can infiltrate their ranks, learn their ways, and pick them off at our leisure.
Oh.
So,
And no funny stuff, dog boy.
this is a freezer, and they're going in here to change clothes. Which
How come I always have to be
Well,
the tail?
now use
Hey,
Max
why don't you make yourself
to
useful?
close the door. See, that does kind of
That was fun.
explain itself that Max was standing over there.
Atonal wardlings.
Are there any more shrimp balls back here? Who are you?
We're the Freelance Police.
We just saved your collective hash.
Really? Then I guess it'd be okay to make you honorary Yeti chiefs. Walk this way.
So we get to be made honorary Yeti chiefs.
Could I have your attention, please?
So this is going to be a long speech? Probably.
Although it's our tradition to allow only Bigfoots and their dates to these gatherings, these two have shown themselves worthy of our gratitude and our trust.
These are a naive people.
So I'm granting them the title of Honorary Bigfoot Chief. So don't mess with them.
That's it? Honorary Bigfoot chief? Where's the cash?
We don't want Bigfoot money, Max. It's probably made of tree bark or something.
I know, but it's the principle of the thing.
You may now wander freely about the convention floor without concern for your health.
Gee, thanks.
Think nothing of it. Follow me.
I feel like it's either an argument that I am no longer able to just laugh hysterically at jokes and appreciate comedy as I might have been able to when I was younger and more naive. Or these
have been gathered from across the world and passed down from generation to generation of Bigfoots.
Or it could be a case that these jokes are just chuckle-worthy at best. And that's definitely what I'm having as an experience, where I am chuckling at these stories, but not really consistently having a entertaining experience.
While their world comes to an end.
Most of your mange-ridden brethren, apparently.
I told you it was a bad idea to spike the punch.
I thought it would loosen up everyone's imagination.
No wonder we're facing extinction. Okay, guys, here's the situation. The Bigfoot way of life is rapidly going down the tubes. These totem poles might be able to save us, but A, we don't know what they mean. B, most of us have been partying too much to figure out what they mean. And C, we Bigfoots have a hard time operating in public, if you know what I mean.
We wouldn't normally be asking for help, but we're desperate.
Well, that's how we get most of our gigs, so why not?
See, this feels like this should have been way earlier in the game. Like,
I'm going to the hot tub.
And it would have been very easy to have had the totem poles as the MacGuffin that you were looking for throughout the game, and you had to collect all 4 totem poles, and once you collected them, then you spun them around and showed these images, and it just plays a gag that Sam and Max were too stupid to even look around on the backsides of them. And then you would have had a bit more of a goal, whereas just chasing after Bruno doesn't really make a lot of
What is
sense.
this? Some kind of tornado?
So we need a tornado from the vortex.
Dentistry?
We need the bungee, I guess.
A patron saint of Bigfoots?
And then the naturalist we already kind of have.
Yep, that's Bruno, the veritable holy grail of our mission. Looks like a before and after shot.
Yeah, but you can't grab these things and you can't use an item with them.
Up.
So, yeah, unless the idea is that we're supposed to use this just directly with this.
I can't use these things together.
We kind of don't know what we're doing.
Yep, that's Bruno, the veritable holy grail of our mission.
And if it were something simple, like you just needed to go to each of these locations in order.
Where?
Back to the carnival so we can get paid, you big lummox.
I may be slow, but I am not stupid. I'm staying right here.
Psst, Max. What? Maybe we should wait a while before returning Bruno to his well-meaning yet horribly twisted owners.
Why?
Because I have a sick, gnarled premonition that something important's going to happen to the Bigfoots. And it would be nice if Bruno were here to see it before we slapped him back in a block of ice.
You're getting soft, Sam.
We've decided to let
Long
you
delay.
until the end of the convention.
Gee, thanks.
Long delay
Is there anything I
after
can do for you in return?
after a line of dialogue. Okay, so we have a lot of conversation here.
What do you make of that totem pole on the far left?
Let me take a look.
So maybe he's gonna give us hints.
Well,
It's a totem pole.
And?
It's made of wood.
It's not too late to take him back to the carnival, you know.
All right. See, we missed a wine bottle. And that's something we needed.
so what do you think about all this?
I think like all
I'm
of these
just happy to
dialogue
be here,
things
Sam. Happy
are gonna
to
be
a room
fairly
temperature
useful
and happy to be
or
free at
useless.
last.
Born free as the wind blows.
Max. What? What were you saying, Bruno?
I lost my thought.
Darn.
Any keen Bigfoot insights into the totem pole with a tooth on it?
I've been staring at that one for hours, and
Yes?
I think it has something to do with teeth.
So we have the tooth. We have the vegetable. So the only thing we probably don't have is this. Is hair growth. And I don't know whose hair we're supposed to grow. Maybe it's the mole man's hair.
I'm not holding my breath, but do you have any clue who the guy in the third totem pole is?
So we have a couple of these items
He sure seems
already.
to get along with vegetables, though.
Sam, the guy in that pole's got a marshmallow.
But we don't know what really what those
I
are
want a
supposed to do.
marshmallow.
Max, you are a marshmallow. See that totem pole?
What about it?
What do you think it means?
I've got it.
What did you tell them?
I told them to start looking for bald guys with spaghetti on their heads.
How'd you and Trixie meet anyway?
Trixie's
We
playing
didn't
very
really meet
little,
until she thawed me out.
very
But
little
I've loved
role.
her ever since that first night she snuck into the freak tent and sang me to sleep with a Scrantonese lullaby.
Different lines were spoken there instead of
And
what
you
was
want to put
typed.
him back in a block of ice.
Yeah. So?
But
I give
I'd
up.
just chalk that up to
Well, now
typos.
that Conroy's out of your hair, what are you going to do?
Try brushing it, maybe?
Well, I've still got the Cushmans to worry about, so I guess I'm still a little tense.
I don't know who Cushmans are.
I still can't figure out how a witty or vain Bigfoot like yourself fell into the clutches of the Cushmans.
It's
I
a
guess
familiar
they're
story.
the circus
Bigfoot
people.
eats fish. Bigfoot tries to catch fish. Bigfoot falls into Arctic ice flow.
That's a classic, all right.
Didn't I hear something about a hot tub around here?
Later, little buddy. Right now, we've got things to figure out.
Yeah, trying to just rush through all this, but it's really, really slow.
Later. Be seeing you.
Not if I see you first.
There is definitely something to this where, how did I possibly go through like 4 or 5 Walking Dead games where it's just all dialogue? I guess there's just a ton more dialogue in the Walking Dead games to keep you interested, instead of a lot of silence that happens. Right, so somewhere around here is a wine bottle.
Nothing back there.
According to this. Now the wine bottle is in the buffet, according to the walkthrough, so I missed that. Yeah, it's right here. But easy to miss that because it's not standing out by any means. Alright. And I'm just going to check the walkthrough to make sure I've gotten everything we need, because I do just want to wrap this whole game up. It frankly feels like we're just going to get these 4 items, and instead of the 4 items being a solution to some puzzle, that they may just trigger the ending of the game regardless, and not really have any explanation at all. Very much making it feel like the entirety of the game is just running out of steam and it's just going to abruptly end. So we've now got to transition multiple scenes to get up here to bend the ice pick, and we'll give it a attempt before we do that. Then we got to transition back to the mystery vortex to get the tornado vortex, which I suppose that is the main bit of power we are gonna use for some magical abilities. Alright, so the ice pick with the, where's the wine bottle? Here it is.
I don't think the ice pick will remove the cork.
Yeah, that won't work. So we give it to this guy
Bend this?
to bend.
Sure.
So they did try to have a video game element here where they had established that you could bend things. Notice the ice pick is depicted as black when it was depicted as yellow previously. So it does kind of feel like there was probably multiple people not communicating
That seems to have gotten the cork off.
when they had made the game.
Toast to nuclear disarmament?
With this poison? Don't be silly.
Okay, so now that we have a cork finally, we can put that.
Seems to have capped the snow globe.
And so then that means we know that this these 3 items are 3 of the 4 items we need, and this item is probably the last item that we need, and seemingly we're eliminating items because we have more room now.
I've got to use this elevator.
Alright, use the elevator. would have been very easy to eliminate those transitions. Let's see. Yeah, and I think this is insane. Either I've missed something, or we literally just would have never figured out that the Miracle Grow hair product was the item that you needed on the pillow with Miracle Grow on it. And I did say a couple hours ago that the Mystery Vortex was probably the end of the game, and it is the end of the game. It's just you have to come back to it. So apparently you just throw everything in this pool, and I think this is the pool you throw everything in, and that doesn't inherently make a lot of sense either.
Can we try the vortex?
Step right in.
Like, the only hint that I think you could even begin to have is that these totems are near the pool in the hotel, and that's supposed to be an indication that you're supposed to put these things.
Sucked in the pseudo-mystical energies of the mystery vortex.
I was hoping something like that would happen.
Yeah. Because I guess this pool here is supposed to connect to the pool in the...
This is a completely unusable thingamabob.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense.
I can't use these things together.
Okay. So I'm misunderstanding something here. Nope. Yeah, it's not the pool here. It's the pool in the hotel, and that does make more sense. So this pool of water probably should have been eliminated. As it's questionable whether somebody would have written a walkthrough while developing this game, but it probably wouldn't have hurt for them to have a general walkthrough. And then they should have had that thought that if one of the solutions is to put items in the pool, does it inherently make itself self-explanatory that they mean the pool in the Savage Jungle Inn as compared to the pool of water in the vortex or any other place where a pool might exist? Like, ideally you would want only one of anything in a point and click adventure so there isn't that level of confusion. Alright, so we've got these things. Let's use this and see if we use it on the totem or if we actually have to figure out a way to throw it into the pool.
I can't use these things together. I can't use these things together.
I'll just want to walk to the pool. Ah, there's a whole other section over here. And we'd missed it. We're constantly running into that problem where you just don't know that there's a whole nother section.
That's one damn stately looking Bigfoot.
So was this perhaps the thing you were supposed to find physically so then you could talk to the guy so you'd get more of a hint?
Can you spare a second?
Not really. But since you're saving my species from extinction, what the heck?
So we've got hints here.
What do you make of the first totem pole?
Is he going to give us real hints?
No, this is a problem that I've been working on for many years.
Wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't give you any hints, actually.
This totem pole to be representative of the whirlwind nature of us Bigfoots. Wild and always moving.
So that's useless.
What can you tell us
Non-hint.
about Bruno?
Is it me, or does it feel as if we've asked just about everybody in the country about Bruno?
Ah, Bruno.
That's probably
Full
true.
of vim and vigor, ready to take on the world. It reminds me of when I was his age.
Yeah, we're not going to get any useful information from this guy at all, I'm sure.
Glad you asked. You see, I believe that it represents the sharp edge of ancient history, the fantastic staying power of the Yeti people over the millennia.
I feel like Trixie could have been a character who could have turned out to be the true bad guy in the story, and then you could have had her tricking everybody using the name Trixie, which would be just totally on the nose and obvious and would probably shock somebody for its obviousness. And then she could have been the bad guy in the sequel.
What do you think about Trixie?
She's such a sweet girl, and very representative of the open-mindedness of our Yeti leadership. We're very proud of that.
How does the third pole figure into the scheme of things?
Let me be very clear. That pole constitutes the harmony from the coexistence of two similar beings. A harmony that springs from mutual respect and understanding.
So the joke here is just that he is totally wrong about everything.
Conroy Bumpus is a threat to the American way of life. Has been and continues to be of highest importance that we rid ourselves of this most negative influence on the young people of our brave new world.
I feel like
Mrs. and I sure like his music, though.
I feel like either the intro credits or the outro credits should have had a Conroy Bumpkus song. It probably wouldn't have been a problem if it was an intro song, because that wouldn't have been too much of a hint.
You know, I'm really anxious about this whole totem pole thing.
Yeah, that fourth totem pole is particularly obscure.
Trust me.
I met Anxious once. He's the one with the drool in his beard.
That wasn't anxious. It was your cotton candy.
Well, that certainly clears up one mystery.
I'm still having nightmares about alligators.
I know that everyone involved with this extraordinary quest has had their demons to contend with, but let me make one thing perfectly clear. It'll be worth it.
In a funny way, the Sam and Max stats, like, the Sam and Max games don't follow the typical hero's journey because you really don't want these characters to have any kind of character growth. If anything, they are closer to an Inspector Gadget type character, or who doesn't learn his lesson but still somehow magically succeeds, or succeeds on luck. Alright, so let's just throw this in here.
I think I figured out one of the totem poles.
Let me see.
So he verifies it. And cracks it like an egg into the water. And so now it's glowing blue. And that destroyed, that disappeared the totem. Which then kind of implies that the totems magically existed on their own. And the dinosaur tooth.
Hey, Chiefy Poo, I think I figured out one of those baffling totem poles.
This is definitely a point in the game if you weren't using a walkthrough where you would have completely just wandered around for a very, very long time. And if you didn't even find this hot tub, you would never know where to put these items in the first place. And even when you do find the hot tub, you kind of don't know where to put them. And it's another point to say that they've custom animated the Yeti putting the items into the pool multiple times. So they've spent like 4 times the amount of animation than they should have. Whereas it would have been incredibly, incredibly easy to simply have him take the item and have an animation where he takes the items, and then once he has all 4 items, he jumps all 4 items into the pool and does a singular shaman dance. And yeah, that level of animation savings could have paid for another day or perhaps another month of writing that a game like this probably needs.
Hey, Mr. Chief, we found something that might tie into your totem poles.
This one's particularly obscure. It's the pillow. And he doesn't even say what he's handing you, he just hands it. The thing here is this level of animation would have never been a cartoon.
Very resourceful.
So
Just like stealing pillows.
they know that this
That should do it, right?
this animation was only going to be in a video game.
Nothing's happening, Sam.
It's weird that they weren't going to
What's the
do
story,
more,
Pops?
that they put
I'm sure you
such a
got the
focus on that.
ingredients right, but of course, how silly of me.
What?
In order for the spell to work, we need a living Bigfoot sacrifice.
Is it going to be
It'd a shame to
Bruni?
lose one of these furry
Bruno?
fellas, don't you think?
Wait, I've got an idea, and it doesn't require high explosives. Wait here.
So we're going to sacrifice
While
Bunkus.
he's gone, I'll go see if any of the Bigfoots wants to off themselves for the greater good.
It's a bit of an extreme ending here, but whatever. It does let us get rid of the bad guys who weren't much of a bad guy in the first place. Lots of new Bigfoots being animated in the background here. Clearly these would have been characters that would have shown up in other locations had they written it that way. Then lots of animation again. So we've destroyed the world in San Francisco by causing a whole bunch of trees to grow, and Seattle. And in a funny way, this probably goes to show where the world in the Sam & Max universe should have continued.
Well, that was one heck of an
Is that they've just created a huge
And
forest.
actually highly destructive to boot.
Goodbye, Sam and Max. I'm not sure how I can ever thank you.
And they never really mentioned this giant forest.
Will you and Trixie be heading back
The
into
dialogue's
forest
taking
with
forever to
idyllic
play.
nature-oriented existence together?
Hell no. We're going to Vegas to get hitched. If it hasn't been trashed by all this crazy redwood nonsense.
We want to be in a place where we can sort of blend in, live our lives, maybe even raise a family.
Ew.
Goodbye, everyone.
You'd think Bruno and Trixie should have come back in the Telltale games, and they just kind of never did.
You mean the wholesale destruction of the symbols of modern civilization in the western United States? You bet we are.
Do we win a prize?
Yep. Chuckle-worthy comedy.
Oh, why not? This medallion has been a part of my family for untold generations. Wear it in good health.
I wonder if the medallion is supposed to be a hint towards the next game.
Thanks, Chief. Max loves cheap sentiment.
Nope, it's just chocolate.
Foil-covered chocolatey goodness. What's wrong, Sam?
I don't think the wizard has anything in that bag for me.
Well, I could give you my ritual headdress that I bought at Snucky's last week.
His
I
head's
appreciate the gesture, but I've already got a
bald.
head.
Well, that's fine too. Farewell, Sam and Max. Remember, though the night be dark, the dawn yet shall awaken and annoy you. Have a nice day.
Just a very abrupt
I'll miss
ending
that old rascal.
to the game.
I'll miss the way he smelled like a bag full of damp hamster shavings.
I wouldn't be surprised
Grandpa.
if they save the game in such a way that you
Hey,
can
we forgot to get paid.
you can play the mini games whenever you feel like it.
I hope you're happy.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is actually.
We'll probably never see
I wouldn't be surprised if I missed a mini game somewhere, but I kind of question that.
Did you find Bruno?
These two guys didn't even play a role.
How can we ever repay you? The blank looks on your faces are the only reward we need.
That and a big fat check.
Would you settle
And
for
the freaks.
3,000 skee-ball tickets?
Close
The,
enough.
the the freaks in the
go,
back
Max.
played no role in the story.
You know, Max, I can't help thinking that we foolishly tampered with the fragile inner mechanisms of this little spaceship we call Earth.
Gosh, Sam, if a few hundred years of civilization have to be totaled just to ensure that a bunch of smelly quasi-human creatures have a safe haven for their disgusting lifestyles, then so be it.
Super slow text.
You crack me up, little
When you hit these big walls of text. I guess they
Did Bruno always have 4 arms?
did probably want to avoid some of that. What's interesting here is we're now seeing them doing a shooting carnival game that you didn't ever actually do, which is weird. And there's a little R2D2, and we're getting the credits at the bottom, and the credits are scrolling fairly quickly. And honestly, I don't think that there was too many people here. I don't know if Nick Jameson ever came back in the Telltale or the games. I don't think he did. I think Max's voice actor was different. I suppose it's probably worth mentioning that there probably were some technology breakthroughs being developed on top of this game, and that might explain its relative shortness. They're playing like Star Wars music. But it would also not really explain the animation. There is clearly, with LucasArts, and it seems very consistent, an obsession about the visuals, an obsession about the audio, and a lot of missing out as far as a focus on the writing and the interactivity. Because like this interface definitely could have been better. Apparently all of this was illustrated by Steve Purcell, so yeah, I might explain why there's so much illustrations. But yeah, nowadays games need to have a lot more interactivity. You don't want something that is just effectively a linear experience with some mini games. That does not fly. If anything, a lot of the big successes of video games these days were made from games that barely have any animation in them at all. When you look at something like Minecraft, the interactivity there is at the maximum, where the story is almost completely non-existent in something like Minecraft, and yet people play it all the time. Same is true for games like Raft, or Fortnite, or Five Nights at Freddy's, or Among Us. Like, there's just a long list of games that have become major successes. On the other hand, here it says you can stop now. There does... Oh, I could have been playing this the whole time. No, really. I didn't know we could... It's left click or right click. It's over. So you get this extra mini game at the end, but you didn't even know that that was something you could do. We're leaving. I wouldn't be surprised if the game literally just exits. Okay, so we lied. Yeah. It is much more of a historical experience going through Sam and Max Hit the Road. I would say going through it first before playing the Telltale games would also probably help a little bit. What's weird is that like this is an R2-D2 and this is just a squeeze toy, but this character is from like a different video game, like, and I can't even tell you where that comes from. So I'm gonna hit both and see if that. And you shoot, the rabbit shoots if you click on the right side, and Sam shoots, and they're just stationary. But both don't do anything, so let's see what the escape button does. Nothing. So it does seem like it just locks you into this forever, and that's all you can do. So in a funny way, you would have had to have made a save file right before the end of the game, or maybe you can make a save file with the ScumVM emulator. It's worth mentioning that some of the ScumVM games actually did not have the ability to save, so there was no internal save. That might explain the shortness of a game like this too. But yeah, this is definitely a historical journey more than an experience that you can just flat out say this is something that any gamer should play. If you have no knowledge whatsoever of Sam & Max and you don't really like point and click adventure games and you don't want to look into the history of point and click adventure games, or if you only like the most modern best point and click adventure games, Sam & Max is an easily skippable series, which is sad, but it also just speaks to how games like this, even if they were fairly successful and popular, have just fallen out of the realm of not being relevant anymore. Well, I don't think there's anything else more to say. It's such a simplistic game. There's not a lot of criticism to make outside of the obvious criticisms. So that's going to be it for this series. As always, if you want to check out the other Sam & Max games I've covered, I have playlists for every game I've ever covered on my playlist tab. So you could go to the playlist tab and search Sam & Max and see all the Telltale games. I would recommend that. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research. I think there is one other Sam & Max game that came between this and the Telltale game, and I'll play that eventually. And then that'll be pretty much all the Sam & Max games I ever have to play. Unless I just want to go play the Telltale games remastered, which just puts them in widescreen and makes a few kind of SJW censorship changes. We did certainly see that in this game, that there are jokes here that just would potentially cause people to throw fits about, but nothing here that's super offensive or super blue or super dirty. But yeah, if you want to watch me play other point and click adventure games or other games in general, the playlist tabs have playlists for all those also. And in general, I always ask that you like and share and subscribe, because all of that helps me with YouTube. Also, watching all the footage, watching it twice, watching it 3 times helps YouTube recommend my videos. And then if you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites to get notifications of when new videos come out, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there is a PayPal link, or you can friend me on Steam and you could either gift me a gift card or a game off my wish list, which it would be very appreciated. That's it for this series. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.